Just walking slowly along the road there. I'll just pull out and I'll just watch him a little bit from there. Sorry, I'm now making it a bit skew now. Let's just see from here. We'll catch up again in a minute. Also work a little bit as a team, you know, when we walk, when we follow leopards like this. It's nice because he just disappeared through the bushes now, and between the two of us, you know, we were able to follow up with him. Lovely tracks going down the road now as well. There, he's just heading. Now, sorry, I just had a breakup of communication there, so I'm just going to ask them to repeat that question. I see there's a question coming through. Now, Sky, Hukumuri is a few kilometers away from Tingana, and he's pretty much moving in a different direction. So he's not in his direct vicinity at all. Stop here, let everybody have a nice view. Now he's going through the thick stuff. So he's not going to be seeing Hukumuri anytime soon. And he's doing what leopards do. They mark with their back legs as he's spraying. He may be defecate now as well. Johanna, you're going to leave?
I'm going to put out for Elvis.
Okay. Are you sure? Thanks very much, eh? Thanks, folks. Okay, I'm going to follow up on him, everyone. Ali, I think he's also quite far away from Tingana that even that rasp wouldn't have been heard by Tingana. I think it's a little bit too far for that. That call can travel quite large distances, but I doubt whether he would have been able to hear that. It's just a little bit too far out on Mamba Road from here. It's about 3 or 4 kilometers at least. So, let's just stop here and watch. He's calling again. Wow. Pretty cool, eh? Hukumuri. Hukumuri. See how he's bumping up all those Franklin. Wow, that was amazing, everybody. Hearing that call again, hey? So, and that's the noise that we're listening for when we walk through the bush. And we obviously listen out for that when we're walking and when we're driving. So then we follow up on that. So you see now he's going to mark a bit, rubbing his face and then spraying. So he's on patrol. Maybe it's because he's come back into the area again. No, there was an alarm call of an impala. He shows a bit of interest, but it's a bit far away from him for it to be alarming at him. Wonder what he's going to get up to. He's Alright, everyone, I'm going to now start up and head up behind him before we lose visual. We need to stay pretty close, huh? He's heading along a nice game path, marking all the way as he goes. Ooh, there's some animals running in front of him. Okay, so we're going to keep walking up behind him. he did have a look, but those animals ran off in front of him, so I don't think he's hunting just yet. But don't worry, if I get any kind of signal that he is going to hunt, I'm going to make sure that everybody comes back to me immediately. Okay, so while I follow up behind him here, I think we can head on over to James, who is still out on foot.
We are still on foot, we are frustrated, we don't know what's going on. We think maybe these tracks are perhaps Tingana's now, because, well, why would a male leopard be as close to where these tracks are as where Taylor is now? But where's Hosanna gone? Everyone else has got a leopard, we've got grass and a nest in the trees and nothing else, and it's all rather too much right now. Where are we going, Herbie? Walking through here, walking and walking and walking, finding nothing. I'm going to fall in this hole. Ooh, I smelt something. Taylor says she's lost the leopard, she might need us to relocate. Well, clearly we're incapable of doing that. Here is the diesel plant, everybody. It makes lovely white flowers. It is the most disgusting smelling thing you'll find out here naturally growing next to lion poo-poo. Now, I don't remember its name anymore. It's Clerodendrum, I think. Is it Clerodendrum obliquum? No, it's not. That's Pterozygium obliquum, which is the sneezewood. It's Clerodendrum. I'm sorry, Judy H. You're going to have to help me out here. It makes lovely white flowers. Smells like diesel. Anyway, that's what it is. It really is, it smells like almost rotting diesel. Okay, let's continue. Impalas are shouting, but they're shouting at each other. Some of you are saying I need a nap. Well, I wouldn't mind having a nap if you see a spot that would be a good place to have a nap. This is a good time to have a nap, 8 o'clock in the morning. And you've been up for as long as we have. Sun's just coming out. It's a nice day for a nap. Okay, let's go back to Ralph and Hukumuri. I will attempt to find something of biological worth by the time you come back to me next.
Shame, James. It seems you're a little bit jealous there, are we? Well, look at this. Hukumuri is like attacking this bush. He's marking it quite vociferously, if that's a word. And he is really announcing his presence now that he has returned into the area after he went on his happy travels out into the other concessions. Oh, there we are. He's just laid down. I think if I move forward, would you have is it forward or back? It might not be. A little bit back. Okay, let me try going slightly backwards. Can't really see nicely there. Just try to get a nicer view there for you. Trying to frame him just past there. How's it? Well, a little bit better. Anyway, let's just watch him there for a little while. Beautiful cat. And so you would be identifying these different individual cats. Specifically, okay, you look at, once again, like we were saying with the hyena, you look for any specific traits any kind of spot patterns and so on the body that would really stand out, any kind of injury, any nick marks around the face, on the ears. And then later on, if you can't identify by anything specific like that, then you start going in close on those spot patterns around the whiskers, and then you get the different ratios from one side to the other, which is now hidden behind the log. There, to the left, it's got 3 there. I think it's 3-3, if I'm not mistaken, with Hukumuri. I quite easily be wrong, but that's how you do identify it. I just know that this guy's one of the biggest male cats around, quite easily, and that's standout characteristic. But you can tell me if I'm wrong. I haven't got my little notepad here. I need to get it out. Dale, it is quite possible that he could develop a rather large dewlap. We'll have to wait, and that will be seen. But not necessarily. But it is well possible. They don't always do that, but it is definitely possible that he may, as he ages, and get that dewlap. See, because also, I mean, you think, if you're a very muscular person, later it can, as you age, it can become a little bit saggy as your muscles sort of withdraw a little bit. And that can quite easily happen with leopards as well. As he ages a bit, then the muscles withdraw a little bit, but the skin sort of has stretched in that area, and then he starts to develop that kind of dewlap around the chest area. There's 1 or 2 other vehicles coming in now. That's what you're hearing. So thank you, James Richard. And so I didn't look at the spot pattern out of any book or anything. I just looked straight directly at his face, and it's been confirmed that he is the spot pattern ratio 3-3. His left-hand side, also 3 dots at the top. So once that's how you go into getting a very difficult leopard to identify. You start looking at that spot ratio, and then you can even go on to, if that is the same as another leopard, you could even go on to the next of the lines as well. And I think they go into sort of A, B, C, D, E, F, G type, really getting intricate into those little spot patterns there. And also, a lot of the time, people look at rosettes, sort of around the shoulder patches here, and see what kind of little shapes they make. You see that one there making like a little bit of a diamond, a little bit lower right on his shoulder. There's a diamond type shape there. That could be used, anything kind of specific. And Kirsten's saying she can see a heart. A lot of people would say that because they love these cats. So, a little patterns like that, that's what we're looking for. And each cat has got a different pattern, very much like our fingerprints. And Hukumuri obviously got his own specific traits and characteristics. So 3-3, the spot ratio around his whiskers, and then he's got, as I can see there, a little diamond, and Kirsten saying a heart. There we go. On the left-hand corner, there's now right in the middle, there's a heart. I'm not sure if that's the one she was talking about, but exactly. Each individual will have a particular kind of spot pattern. And the rosettes going further down the body would also be different in each different cat. Obviously, if you take photos and things, you can very easily compare them to a different leopard. But when you're just looking at it directly like this, you need to obviously just try and use these very easily identifiable features. So, well, he's rested up nicely just next to a little pan. So, yes, I think we'll just stay here, and hopefully Hukumuri gets up and maybe chases something down. But while we're waiting for him to do something, let's head you on over to James and see if he's done anything.
If I've done anything, I have done lots of things. We can hear some, I think, kudu running. But also we have a hyena track, which is quite interesting here. I was going to show you something else, but we've got an interesting hyena track here. That is fascinating. Thank you, Roberto. Now, one of the things we tell you when we show you how to identify the difference between a hyena and a leopard track is the back pad. Now, this is a hyena track, but it's got 3 lobes on its back pad. And that is very unusual. That is cat-like. And it means that this hyena must have an injury on the big back pad. So the big back pad is actually like, at least the big lobe of the back pad should look something like that, with the smaller one there. And he's obviously got some kind of injury there, or perhaps just a stone stuck in there, or a big thorn, or something like that. And it means that the foot leaves 3 lobes. And so if you only saw that part of the track, you may confuse it for a cat, which is quite interesting. The reason we know it's a hyena is the kidney-shaped toes here on either side, and the fact that the rest of the track is sort of very compressed. The cat track much more exploded. So if I was to take all of that away, and if we only had that, which is now utterly invisible, but if Herbert only had that, for example, he might confuse it for a leopard. Okay. Good. Thank you very much, Judy H. Clerodendrum ternatum. Yes, ternatum. I didn't, who cares? I forgot, and I'm sorry. You say, did I ever find you a potato bush? No, I have seen many since the day that you asked me to find you one. But I'm afraid I did forget. I will try and find you one. It probably won't be today, because I don't think we're going anywhere near a drainage system where we might find them. But if you keep reminding me, I promise I will do my level best to remember. Okay? All right. In fact, we could just go down here. Let's have a quick look down here. This is quite a deep drainage system. There might be some potato bushes down here. Herbert has just been telling us a story. One day I'll get him to do it for you. He used to guide Italian guests quite a lot, so he learnt quite a few Italian words, and he was just telling us about Italians confusing warthogs for baby rhinos and doing all the actions. It was very funny. I'll get him to do it for you one day. I won't do it justice. All right, so this is where you would find a potato bush, in this sort of vicinity. Let's go down into this little riverbed where we saw honey badgers once, believe it or not. There was a den, a honey badger den, or set. I don't know if only European badgers have sets. You can see the honey badgers or the babblers. Ah, well, Herbert has got some babblers for you. What I will do, not Herbert, the Sensor has got some babblers for you. I'm just going to sneak through here while you look at the babblers and see if I can't find a potato bush. It's not a very impressive bush, I'm just warning you. It's really not something that you'd put on your mantelpiece in a pot and say, look at my potato bush, when your friends came round. Because if your friends came around and that's all you had to show them, I suspect they'd question your ability to decorate your home. Isn't it just typical that... Is this one? I'm unable to find one when I want one. This is exactly where you would expect to find them. I do apologize for those of you who've seen one before and know that we are destined for disappointment here. Here's the badger set. Come and have a look here. Now that looks like it's fairly active to me. Quiet! Shush! Talking to the babblers. That's where the badgers were, and that is fresh. That's been used. Now, whether it's still being used by badgers or by something else, I don't know. I'm going to go a little bit closer because it looks like there might be a potato bush behind it. What I don't want is for something to come herring out of there at great speed and flatten me, like a warthog, for example. But the badgers could be in there. You'll stay there, says Senzo. Senzo says he'll be there waiting to see. He's not coming with me. I was looking in there with my binoculars. I can't see anything, but the reason I say that I think there's something living in there is you can see how fresh the activity outside it is. I think this is still a badger set, but they are very, very shy. Badger! Badger! No, I cannot hear it, and nor can I find any evidence of a potato bush. I will keep looking. I think we are now going to go across to visit Taylor, who I think has left the sleeping Tingana.
Yeah, we have, sadly, we all know how relaxed Tingana is around the vehicles. He doesn't even twitch an ear. You could just about drive over him and he won't move. And this morning, he's not his usual self. I think he's obviously been hearing Hukumuri soaring about. I don't think he's necessarily picked up on his scent mark. But when we first spotted him, when Seb spotted him just a little bit higher up on that bank, you could see, I don't know if you thought so, but he almost looked terrified. Like he was not really happy. And then we lost him and went round. We couldn't find him for ages. And then we found him again, just sleeping on an animal pathway while we were in the Mulwati. We didn't have great signal. And as soon as he saw us, he got up. And we weren't particularly close. I mean, we just switched off. He got up and he ran away from us. Very unlike that cat. So he went and we think he tucked himself either in a spike thorn with tall grass, or he went up and away from us again. So I decided to leave him. I don't think he's going to go too far. Maybe he'll be around again in the afternoon. Maybe he just needs some time. Well, I don't know. If I heard Hukumuri soaring and I'd already been given a hiding by him or from him once, I probably wouldn't want to see that leopard again. And I don't think Tingana wants to bump heads. He's not really in the fittest condition at the moment to be having any fights. He doesn't look too thin, but he's not bulky anymore. He doesn't look like Hukumuri is looking at the moment. He's been training, obviously. So yeah, so we just decided to move away from that area, and then I'm pretty sure that someone will go and check for him this afternoon, and maybe he would have relaxed a little bit. But it was nice to see him. I think he's been maybe walking up and down. These tracks do come from the south in the Mulwati, and then come up that way. But who knows? Who knows what's happened? Now, Dale, there are indeed leopards in coastal areas. There most certainly are. The Cape Mountain leopard, which only occurs in sort of from the west coast right down along, not quite yay, elephants! I stopped looking for them and then we found them. Sorry, I got very excited there. I will continue telling you about the leopard now. I just want to get a view of one elephant. There's one with grass on its back. So Dale, there is actually quite a cool story. I think it's quite cool, but some people might disagree with me. Now, the Cape Mountain leopards, unfortunately, have been almost hunted into extinction by sheep and goat farmers. Obviously, the coast of South Africa was where the settlers first started arriving, and they first started taking up land, and then, of course, creating farms and clearing the very dense vegetation. And once they started planting crops, they were bringing in all the domestic animals via the ships. And, well, the leopards, of course, are going, this is a very easy meal to sort of get. And the farmers still to this day, especially where I'm from in the Eastern Cape, heavily shoot the leopards, even though you get a big fine. You're not allowed to shoot them. They are an endangered species. The Cape Mountain leopard, there's not very many of them left, and they're exceptionally elusive. They're normally only captured on camera traps. It's normally when you get to see them. And down, I forget the area exactly, but it was in Cape Town, somewhere around there, there was a leopard that was going about and eating penguins and catching lots and lots of penguins. So it was sort of making use of them. But they're super elusive. They try and keep away. So you can indeed see leopards along the coast. I don't know, are there any leopards in sort of the skeleton coast where in Namibia, where you can see brown hyenas and lions on the beach almost? I wonder if there are any leopards around there. Then you could see them walking through the waves, maybe going in for a swim, Baywatch style. I highly doubt that's what would happen, but wouldn't that be nice? I'm not exactly sure. Also a little hornbill just sitting above that elephant. Now, I can just see the two ellies for now. I don't know if there's maybe a breeding herd around here that are perhaps just feeding in and amongst these thickets. But they're grabbing as much grass as they can get and devouring it. It is a lot of grass. Didn't like that bit though. You see, I think just munching off the tops of the stems, which is the sweetest part of the grass at the moment. That's the bit that they want to be getting. Well, the inflorescence are. Some of these grasses don't have the nicest leaves on them either. So you see that munching and then breaking it off and then dropping it. How nice is it to have so many leopards on the property, and we still don't know where Hosana is, so I'm sure he's around here somewhere. So 3 male leopards in the area. And I'm pretty sure that Tundi is on the property too somewhere, and so is Shidula. That's not a name, Shidulu. Anyways, Hukumuri is on the move, just like these elephants. Perhaps he'll pose on another termite mound.
Yes, everyone. Well, unfortunately, I think this is our boundary line. This is the road called Triple M, and well, he's just left. So unless he now turns back, this might be the last we see of him this morning. And he's heading towards that road there, so we might get a nice clear view on him. But I think we might be out of luck that he's headed now back into an area that we may not traverse. Let's have a last watch on this wonderful male leopard that is Hukumuri. Whether or not he continues along that road remains to be seen, but it looks like he is heading directly up there. Carol, interesting question that you've asked there and posed about their territories and how it is determined. Well, it's mostly determined around other leopards, as you've mentioned, but like for a male like this Hukumuri, he's obviously quite a big male, so he's not going to worry too much. And here comes this vehicle taking over here, so they're allowed to go in there. Enjoy, folks. Okay, so it will be determined about other males, but they'll also mostly around the resources, what food there is available, and they'll obviously try and establish a territory where there's a lot of food, lots of impala, lots of warthog, lots of duiker, and lots of water, because the water generally brings the animals, a good feed for the animals, and then that obviously brings the predators with it. So it's like a whole geomorphological scientific basis to that, and it's all interlinked. So the best soil will produce the best grass and trees, vegetation will produce the best prey species, which in turn produces the best areas for predators. So yeah, there's a whole lot of related factors that are involved there. Well, we've had a wonderful morning with Hukumuri. I think we need to start up and go and see what else we can find. And while we head off down the road, let's head on over to James, who I believe is doing the same thing.
So what we're doing is we've come back towards a treehouse waterhole, where we're having one last hopeful look and see what we can find before we turn for home. Let's go down to the water's pleasant and peaceful edge and see what there is there. Now, last time I was here, I told you that algal blooms do not kill animals. This was a lie, as pointed out to me by the great authority on all things that are, well, all things basically, that's Judy H., who confirmed indeed that it is Clerodendrum tenatum, which I told you earlier, and of course that algal blooms, specifically of blue-green algae, the cyanobacteria, they have killed various herds of animals in the Kruger Park over the years, and it's almost always in these stagnant water holes. Now, as far as I understand it, blue-green algae is different from sort of what you and I would call, I guess, Spirogyra, which is another kind of algae. And it's the blue-green algae that can be toxic, that produces nasty toxins. I don't know what this is. This could be either. I suspect it's the blue-green stuff, though, simply because it's come out in sudden bloom on the top of the surface, as opposed to underneath the surface. So I suspect that this probably is relatively toxic for animals if they are not careful, but if they put their mouths right through it or find a patch where it isn't growing, and it's certainly reducing now, I suspect that'd be fine. Certainly no, there's been no report of any toxicity occurring at the moment. Bone collector, you say you'll pay me to swim across this. How much? Bone collector, tell me how much. It'll have to be a fair amount. Waiting for Bone collector to put his money where his mouth is. Palona says what? It looks like? Smelly? No, it's not very smelly. No, it's not smelly. It's just it looks a bit yuck. Bone collector, are you going to put your money where your mouth is? No. Okay, let's carry on. Let's continue. $50 to go across here. No, you'd have to make it slightly more worth my while than that. Robert, you said $100. What if I told you I wouldn't have to swim across it and then I'd just have to walk across it? That it's not deep enough for me to swim across. Then what would you say? Because I'll happily walk across it for you. For $100. Okay, Conrad says he would do it. I thought Conrad was going to pay me $100 to do it. For $100. But it's you can wade across here. I mean, I'll do it for you if you want. I don't see why not. It's not like we found a great deal else going on in here.
So now you have $150.
Now I've got $150. Isn't that nice? What should I do with it? I think I might buy some special apple juice. We're not together. I'm doing it. You're going to film me.
I have to follow you.
Are you coming with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So you mean, so what do you want to buy with our money?
We'll talk.
Bone collector, I'm not going to do dog paddling here because you don't have to. It's not deep enough for me to do the dog paddle. I don't think. Well, I say that, let me take my phone out of my pocket. Are you not coming in? Now, of course, people are worried about crocodiles. This is not deep enough for there to be crocodiles, and that's why I'm prepared to walk across it. Watch me get taken by a crocodile today. I need to go now. Thanks. Whew. Bone collector, you definitely owe me now. My radio, is it in? It's not in. It's okay. I knew there was. And I've had trouble with technological equipment and liquid today, haven't I? There we go. That was actually quite pleasant. No, I'm not returning. You can come round this side. Bone Collector, I've just, I know there aren't any crocodiles in here, but I've told the story many times of another waterhole where I used to work, where somebody said, I've never seen a crocodile in here, there aren't any, and that man now lives in Namibia with one arm. So, the wisdom of what I've just done is definitely questionable. I mean, this is not nearly as big as that waterhole was. This is a tiny little puddle in comparison. All right, well, there it is. Ellen, you're offering me $200 to take my clothes off. Ellen, that's not going to happen. But thank you very much for the offer. Can we go now, Senzo? Please come around the waterhole and let us depart. Goodbye. Go and see Taylor. She'd definitely have done this.
No, never, thank you very much. I think if I would have done that, I would have given you all a fright, though. I would have gone to the middle and then pretended that something pulled me under. That would have been funny, and then come up and gone, jokes! Never, there's no ways I'm getting that algae in my hair. Not a chance. James, you enjoy that soggy-bottomed walk home. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very nice. We've been bumbling around. Our elephants left us. They went into the thicket to have some nice breakfast, and we decided to drive. What road did we drive? We just drove in Nyala Road South. We're going to go up Weaver's Nest, now Vulture's Nest is the road I'm thinking of. We're going to go up here and have a little look around. I haven't seen any leopard tracks. None. So obviously no leopards have walked here. Oh, I could have missed some. Definitely could have missed some leopard tracks. I was hoping I was going to say that, and then I was going to go around the next corner and there were going to be leopard tracks. I don't understand where Tandy's gone. That leopard is a mystery to me. She maneuvers around here is incredible, without leaving a trace too. She does it on purpose, I suspect. I think she's an older girl and she knows the tricks of the trade really, really well. So she just evades us, and Klalamba is now going to take after her mother, I suspect, and be very sneaky and slinky when she moves through the bush too. And we haven't really seen much in terms of game. I mean, the only impala and things we've seen were the ones on quarantine. Oh, my little friend Pradeep, who's only 6 years young. We would like to see some squirrels that we can try and make happen for you. Let's look in these knob thorns. Let's check. I'm just checking. I don't see anyone bouncing there, but here's another big tree. There's a big Balanites tree. Perhaps we'll find some squirrels for you. They're so quick, Pradeep. They're very difficult to try and find. There's that family that lives at Chitwa. They're very cooperative. They like to hang around. I don't see anybody. I wish you'd asked for squirrels a little bit earlier, because I was off-road looking for Tingana. You remember that big leopard? That used to be the strong man that lives around here, but Hukumuri's given him the boot now. And there were some squirrels that were just shouting, going, not very happy with Tingana. Tingana also didn't look too pleased. I think he was trying to listen and get an idea as to where Hukumuri was going. Okay, I'm gonna... Ew, thank you, excuse me, that was a big sneeze. Phew, that was a good one though, but every time I sneeze it hurts my nose. I don't like sneezing very much. I think I've told you this, it's not my favorite. Everyone else loves to sneeze. It's not nice at all. So it happens when you break your nose 7 times. Anyways, Pradeep, I'm going to keep looking for the squirrel for you, and then I'll call you back very quickly if we find one. But off you go back to Ralph. Maybe he'll find one before me.
Yes, and I will be looking for a squirrel, but with James crossing that little pan, I'm not quite sure how big the pan was, but reminds me of a story that I have told when I just started Wild Earth. Treehouse Dam. Wow. That is quite incredible. Well done, James. But it reminds me of a story that a good friend of mine, actually, Chris Bacchus, up in the northern part of Namibia. They used to live in the central part of Namibia, and they were on a farm. But the farms in Namibia are massive. And they had a farm dam very similar to Treehouse Dam. And they knew that there was one crocodile in that dam. So they would regularly go swimming in the dam if they could see the crocodile on the bank. So they would regularly go swimming, and one day they went swimming in the dam because they could see the crocodile on the bank, and lo and behold, they got attacked by a crocodile. Well, Chris did, and it took his arm off, and that's when they realized that there were two. So now they know that there's two crocodiles in the dam. Chris Bacchus now has one arm. He works in the northwestern part of Namibia, in the Serakafema, one of the very famous wilderness camps, and he's got a dog that's got 3 legs. And his name is Tripod. So there's this very amazing relationship with Chris Bacchus with one arm and his dog with 3 legs called Tripod. But he always tells me that don't think that you know that there's only one crocodile in the dam. You must always be aware that there might be 2. And he's living proof of that. So James, I'm glad you made it across. There's a couple of woodpeckers, and I hope he sits just long enough for us to see him. Can you still see him there? There's 2 of them. 2 of them. I'm not sure which kind of woodpeckers they are. Let's have a look. They might be golden-tailed. Can you see them? Oh, there they are. There they are. I can't see them in this light. Is it bearded? Is it the cardinal? Or is it the golden-tailed? It looks like it might be a golden-tailed. I would know if they call, so let's listen out. That very red colour on the top of the crest looks like a golden-tailed to me. Their call is a very screechy eh. I think it was the golden-tailed. Well, there were 2 of them, and they've gone. And speaking of two crocodiles, 2 woodpeckers, I'm glad that James didn't have a crocodile in the dam when he was going across. You need to be very careful of those flat dogs, as we call them. I doubt there are any. I haven't seen any crocodiles in there. Doesn't mean that there aren't any. Could be the odd hippo as well, but I think it's quite shallow if James waded. Did he wade across or did he swim across? Quite interested to know now. Now, he waded. Okay, well, speaking of James and swimming and soggy pants, let's go over to him and just see if he's still alive.
Still alive. Have to walk like this, though, to avoid chafing, which is, of course, what happens when you walk with wet pants on. Anyway, that's okay. For $150, I think is well worth it. That Chris Bacchus chap who Ralph was talking about is the guy that I was talking about. I don't actually know him. Ralph obviously knows him from Namibia, but that's who it was. It was he who walked into Oppie Dam. I think this is the story. He walked into Oppie Dam at Ngala. Herbert's nodding because he also used to work there. And crocodile took him. It was a much bigger waterhole than that. And you would never ever convince me to swim across Buffelshoek Dam, for example. I would never do that. Because I've seen crocodiles in there. Now, furry Biffle Snoot, it's been so long since I've heard the sweet tone of your name in my ears and been able to repeat it, furry Biffle Snoot. Wonderful. You say, do the rivers here ever fill up with water after heavy rains? Yes, they do, but it'll be very flash flood sort of thing. So the Mloamati will flow from time to time, probably once a year or so, not more than that. And then there will be puddles. It'll leave puddles, along the banks, and animals will drink from those puddles. But it's very sandy, so the water disappears very quickly. It does not happen very often at all. Interestingly, the oddest things happen in rivers up here, and they have found, I think, let me just make sure I've got this correct, yes, they have found bull sharks up near Crook's Corner, which is in the Kruger National Park. It's the corner of the Kruger, so South Africa, Mozambique and Zimbabwe, and it's where the Limpopo crosses that area. And if the Limpopo is in sufficient flood for enough time, those estuary-living bull sharks will swim up the river, the Zambezi shark. And they found sharks up there, if you can believe it. Imagine we'd found a shark in there. And so, these rivers deliver the most astonishing surprises very frequently. I'm very grateful for the fact that there wasn't a bull shark or a crocodile in the puddle that I waded across. I guess the rule, basically, everybody, is that you shouldn't go into water that you cannot see all of or see the bottom of. Foreign user, welcome to the club known as what I like to call the Club of Doubting Thomas. That is where you are. You say, is this legit live? Yes, it is legit live. I don't really know how to prove that to you. I know how we can prove it to you, or other than the fact that I'm answering your question. Where's my telephone? It's in your pocket, is it? Right. You check on the internet what time it is, Central African time, and I will tell you that it is 8:46 Central African time. No, you can't see it. Let me push it. Let me push it again. Let's go to the clock, shall we? Clock. I can't make it look. Maybe you can see that, but can you see the clock? No?
Yeah, I can see
you can see it. 8:46 Central African time. You can't see it?
I can see it.
Now we can see it. 8:46 Central African time. 4 messages. Excellent. Okay, it's live. So now you may exit the Club of Doubting Thomas. Alright, let's go back across to Taylor. She apparently is looking for Squiliotto. Squiliotto. Squiliotto.
I'm looking for the squirrels. Squirrels? Sebastian, do you want to tell the viewers how you say that word? Okay, wait, listen. I'm turning off the car. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I don't particularly like the word squirrel, but when Sebastian says it, it's amazing.
Écureuil.
What?
That's in French.
No, we say it in English.
Squirrel.
Oh no, Seb, you've been practicing. Seb used to go squirrel.
Squirrel.
But he's been practicing. I know you've been practicing, Seb. You have to. No, it was nice when you said it like that. It was unique. I was always saying, oh, it'll have a little giggle. Of course, as you know, Sebastian has got the probably the best accent in camp. I think Brent likes to think that he's got the best accent, but he doesn't. But Seb has. It's a pleasure. Écureuil. I don't know how to say that. I've never spoken French in my entire life. It's a hard language then. It's just difficult in general. I struggle to try and speak English. I mean, I can't even do that properly, so there's no hope for me. Anyways, right, we're at Vuyatela Dam. I'm waving at the dam cam. I haven't found any squirrels yet, I don't know, but this is normally a good spot. There are some great trees here. Hello, animals, Impala of Vuyatela Dam, which, well, it's not quite a dam anymore, it's a massive mud wallow. And, well, it's made for the perfect spot for Impala and things that like to eat grass to come and graze around here. It's all lovely and lush. It's lovely. My goodness, I don't even remember when I last saw this dam when it was full. Oh, there's guineas there too. Hello, guinea fowl. They're very happy. They're quite sneaky, hiding away in the grass. You just saw their little blue heads popping up. I thought they were flowers. They're not flowers, of course. They're guinea fowl. And one blacksmith lapwing, a bit ready to boss everybody around. What a nice little scene that we have. But I promise you, as you're sitting looking at the Impala, I'm searching trees for squirrels. I will find Pradeep. I will find you one. I promise. I'm searching. Now, Eclair, there are indeed lots of vermin species in which volume am I turning up there? In this area. Vermin like, let's go. What is my favorite vermin species? The good old cane rat. That's a goodie. Then there's lots of sort of bushveld gerbils. I suppose they can be considered to be vermin. Jackals are definitely considered to be vermin. Not by us. Not by the ones who enjoy nature, but anybody, again, remember we were talking about the Cape Mountain leopard that were eating all the sheep and the goats and the penguins along the coastline of South Africa, and they're targeted by the farmers. Jackals do a similar thing. They take the young lambs and the young kids, not young human kids, I'm talking about goats, and they can be a pest, so they're considered to be vermin. That's Voyatella Lodge that you were seeing at the back there, just in case you saw some fences and things. Sorry, I forgot to mention it, but that overlooks this area. So I suppose, yes, there are vermin species, but out here they're not considered to be vermin because they're living in their natural habitat. But in other parts of the country, there are definitely some people that don't want to tolerate them very much at all. Guinea fowl can be a bit of a pest too, but not here again. We like them. We like the guineas. They're very nice. So I wonder what the impala are going to get up to today. They're just probably going to do the same thing that they do every single day. Eat. Keep a watch for leopards and lions. Push each other around because these young boys are getting to that age now. Most of them are quite young in here, only just a couple of years old, not really going to be competing in the rut, but you can see there's one fella that keeps trying to bop heads with everybody. Oh, a little bit of allo grooming going on now. That's quite sweet. Those two at the back. So just licking one another, and one's saying, please will you groom my face for me? I can't groom my own face. There we go. You see how they sort of present their horns to one another. It's almost as if inviting them for a little tussle. And then if you don't want to, you can just turn away and walk. These, of course, are not any real battles that are going on. Must be something delicious down there. All the impala coming around. Oh, there we go. Pushing horns against one another. Lovely. Very pretty. Right, let's look for that squirrel because we don't have much time left. If I were a squirrel, I would be sitting out in the open, sunning myself. I'm sort of squirreling hard right now. In fact, right, I'm not having much luck when it comes to squirrel finding today. Normally I have been exceptionally lucky and I've been seeing lots and lots of squirrels lately. But we'll keep trying. Right, I think it's going to have to be a numbers game where the three of us are going to have to try and look for squirrels and hope to find one. Let's go to Rolf and see if he can't see one scurrying across the road.
Yes, and that's always the case, isn't it, Taylor? Is when you're looking for something, you never find it. But as soon as we say, all right, we're not looking for squirrels, we'll see lots of them. Now, I was just telling Davy a little story that I was taking some Sotho people. Sotho is obviously people that come from Lesotho, and they speak Sotho. So these Sotho people came on a game drive with me. And Lesotho is a small country in South Africa, but Sesotho, the language spoken in quite a big central region of South Africa. And they came on a game drive with me, and we saw very little, but we saw a lot of squirrels. So I said to them, what is a squirrel in Sotho? And they all looked at each other with quite blank faces, and they didn't really know what to say. But they discussed it amongst themselves, and I didn't understand everything that they were saying. But eventually they said, a squirrel in Sotho is squirile. So quite similar to our English word, but and if you say I look at or I see a squirrel, you say wabona squirile. So there we go. So the next squirrel I see, I'm going to say wabona squirile, and you know what I mean, okay? And that's in Sotho, one of our local South African languages. Now, where is that squirile? Come on, Davy, find the squirile. We did see a few birds. It's gone a little bit quiet now, and I do believe it's because of that temperature which is rising. And I think everything's going to be finding itself some shade. And we also saw some female leopard tracks. So and I have a feeling it might be Shudulu. Not to say that I'm going to find her, because they were going in the opposite direction to where I was going. So I'm just turning around in the block that she potentially moved into, and hopefully we spot a squirrele on the way. Squirrele, squirrele, where are you? A few birds around. The ever-present fork-tailed drongo and the hornbills. Doesn't matter what time of the day it is, you're always going to see some of them. And obviously the little Cape turtle dove be doing his what bird is that we got up there? Something high up in the sky, Davy. Do your magic. It's coming over quite quickly. What do we have? It's like quite a short tail. Is it a battleur? Yes, it is a battleur. He's heading towards the sun now. Oh well, that's now almost straight into the sun, so don't burn your eyes. And of course we can hear the Cape turtle doves calling again. I couldn't see if that was a male or female because of the silhouette. Now, let's continue on the search for the squirrele, but while we do that, on over to James, who I think he's on his way to breakfast.
We're going live? We too are looking for squirrele. We sometimes find squirrele sitting actually right here. They have a home here, in this little tree hole. And sometimes you can find them sunning themselves up there. But of course the presence of humanity, even as fine an example of humanity as Herbert Causa, is going to deter the presence of squirrele. So I'm sorry about that. We will not be seeing a squirrel on foot, I don't think. Jacqueline, this is the second shadow question I've had in the last little while. You say, do I think animals are aware of their shadows? Yeah, they must be. Let's quickly go across to Ralph.
Okay, everyone, we just crossed for this tiny little tortoise. It's this, I think it might have just hatched, but let's see if we can spot it here in the grass. I don't want to disturb it. Let's just drive up here a little bit. Oh, shame if we don't get to see that. That was so wonderful. I'm sorry, James, I know I tore you away from your wonderful story there, but the little guy, oh my word, he couldn't have been bigger than a dollar coin. He was tiny. And now I've dragged you away from James's story to look at some grass. Well, sorry about that, everyone. Let's go back to James and he can finish his story.
I don't remember what I was saying now. What was I talking about? Shadows. Are animals aware of their own shadows? I think that they must be. I don't think they get frights from them. I mean, it would be ridiculous if they all ran around in the hot African sun, running away from or attacking their own shadows. So I do think that they're aware of them. Here is a fungus that we've shown you many times before. But clearly, it is a fungus that has very deep roots here. And every so often, it produces this cap. There we go. And then it disappears. And it comes up again, I think probably just after rain. And it is the most, I mean, you can imagine eating that. It would be delicious, I imagine, if it wasn't toxic. And I'm not sure if it is toxic. But what I think it is, I think it's a fungus that's growing on in a termite mound. And not all do this, some of them. Yeah, or from a remnant termite mound, perhaps. But it's normally the termite fungus is that colour when it comes out. So I think that's what that is. But it'll disappear, you don't see it, and every so often you walk past it and bang, it's up again. Gorgeous kind of golden colour. And it always makes me look, when it's newer than this is starting to die off now. When it's newer than this, it looks like a sort of an ice cream that you'd buy at delicious gelato purveyor. What are they called? Gelateria. Which we won't be getting today. Oh well, Bacon and eggs are on the offing, so we will see you this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us today, for your questions and comments. Thank you to my colleagues for finding all of the leopards, which I failed dismally to do. A big thank you to Sensor on camera today, his hat, and a massive thank you to those of you who are going to pay me $150 for my swimming exploits. See you this afternoon.